All right, people. Sorry about that. We're back. We're back. My apologies. So yeah, Donald Trump. I have technical difficulties. But Donald Trump is seemingly about to give at least coronavirus victims what I think is Medicare for all, but I'm not sure he actually knows it's Medicare for all. But we're gonna let his people talk about it, and we're gonna analyze it and see what it's about.
There's more. Yeah, I'll play it again.
Okay, great.
There's more.
I'm going to provide a brief update on the administration's plans to cover the testing and treatment for the uninsured. Getting the uninsured access to the care they need is a top priority for President Trump. We are already rolling out the $1 billion in funding from the Families First Coronavirus Response Act to cover providers' expenses for testing and diagnosing the uninsured. The CARES Act, signed by the president, includes another $100 billion for
the CARES Act, this is called, already signed by the president. Okay, this is already signed, apparently.
$100 billion for healthcare providers. Under the president's direction, we will use a portion of that funding to cover providers' costs of delivering COVID-19 care for the uninsured, sending the money to providers through the same mechanism used for testing. As a condition of receiving funds under this program, providers will be forbidden from balance billing the uninsured for the cost of their care. Providers will be reimbursed at Medicare rates.
Now, that's the CARES Act that he already signed.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, not gonna lie to you, this puts us in a dilly of a pickle. A dilly of a pickle. The reason why, and by the way, did y'all listen to that description? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make testing, in other words, preventative care for COVID-19 free. Then, if you need any treatment, that, all right, wait for it, will also be free. And we're going to pay for it. All hospitals, clinics, physicians, doctors, etc., etc., etc. We're going to pay for it using the same mechanisms as Medicare, and we're going to charge them Medicare prices. And if you don't have health care insurance, well, ladies and gentlemen, you're in luck, because this is specifically for you. If you've been fired from your job and you don't got that great coverage, this is specifically for you. And so if everybody loses their insurance, and everybody will be covered through a program that will pay for all people under it by paying through the same system that Medicare uses at Medicare. Y'all, am I crazy? Isn't that basically Medicare for all? Basically Medicare for all. I'm not an expert at this stuff. Know a little bit about a lot, but I ain't an expert in this stuff. But that sounds like it might be the closest thing to Medicare for all that we have seen literally in like ever. Somebody want to answer this question for me? Why how do the Democrats keep getting outflanked from the left by Donald Trump? Now, don't get me wrong. There are some Democrats who in the legislature who have been advocating for this from the very beginning. Tulsi, Bernie, AOC, Elon, a few have been advocating for this from the very beginning. But there was not really any legislative pressure put on Trump's administration by the Democrats. In other words, in a situation like this one, I'm sure that there's now a coronavirus like committee specifically dedicated, like there's a task force, I'm sure. It's usually how these things work. To encourage the president to expedite the process of making funds available and, of course, making sure that people could get access to testing and could get access to treatment. You introduce a resolution urging him to do it, or a bill forcing him to do it, essentially, as long as he doesn't veto it. And then he would do it under the pressure of Congress. Like, if you wanted to put pressure on him, that's how it would look. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I told you all, I covered this yesterday, the day before yesterday. I covered a video where I said, where Trump said, it's not fair that so many people are uninsured. It's not fair. He said it doesn't seem fair that if you have money in this particular situation to afford health insurance, then you have an inherent advantage. And then we find out he actually signed. This isn't conjecture. He actually signed an executive order allocating $100 billion, in which a large amount is to guarantee care for any type of coronavirus treatment and testing. Bro. Look, he's a politician, right? So the executive order is probably not going to do as much as it should. Just insurance companies would not allow that to happen. They just wouldn't. But this is a step in the right direction. In my humble opinion, although there are some circumstances surrounding the coronavirus crisis that actually would make it a little bit difficult to surmise how effective it is and how possible and plausible all this stuff is. We do have a doctor shortage. Like, that's been a thing prior to any of this going on. So, but as far as the payment mechanism is concerned, right? As far as the accounting side is concerned, this will be a good opportunity, because now it's almost a guarantee. You're going to see a huge spike in the use of Medicare because people are concerned about taking care of themselves amid this crisis. And so we're actually going to be able to see live and in action a system that is at least partially implementing Medicare for all. And if it goes well, and this isn't even the best version of it, like, as far as now it's charging Medicare rates for some treatments. Or no, excuse me. No, I lied. My apologies. This is actually it's almost exactly like the legislation that's been introduced. So at the point of service, the coronavirus treatment and testing will be free. And then the facilitator of that treatment, hospital, physician, clinic, etc., they will be paid Medicare prices. So it's not even like the person is going to be charged. So we're going to be able to see how viable a Medicare for all system is if that system can handle a spike during a pandemic like this one. If it is easier for accounting, if it is plausible, can the staff currently available handle it? And we might be seeing an opportunity to build out from that. If it works, you can almost guarantee that Trump might do this across the board, because it will make him look good. Anything that makes Trump look great, and then if it gets caught by the attention of the public, he will double down on it. That's what he does. The moral of the story is, I'm kind of in this. I don't know how to say this, but I'm kind of tired of this narrative that Trump has done the worst job dealing with the coronavirus, because he hasn't. Has he done a stellar job? Like an amazing? No, not at all. It's not. Has he done the worst job out of any president, any leader? No, that's not true either. First of all, as a president, there's only so much he can do anyway. But he suggested to the HUD, it's not as far as I'm sure he would have liked to take it, based off of his words anyway. He suggested to the HUD to stop evictions and stop any type of defaults on mortgage. Can't kick anybody out the house, can't take any court action or any of that stuff. Trump suggested that before it was done. I'm just being honest. He listened to, Democrats like Tulsi and AOC, who both made these suggestions. Trump liked the idea of a universal basic income. His plan was to take it further and guarantee it monthly, because he's thinking about economy. But for us, it's extremely helpful as well. Is he wrong about how he's disseminating information specifically to how to deal with the virus? Sometimes, probably. But does that mean that he is handling the virus, at least as much as he can in his capacity? Does that mean he's handling it the wrong way holistically? No, not necessarily. Where he's done good, he's done good. Where he's done bad, he's done bad. But you know what this really means for everybody? It means the Democrats are about to get their asses handed to them come November. That's what the fuck this means. That's what this means. Do you know what this show? Listen, Trump signed an executive order to cover very specific types of treatment for free that'll be paid for through Medicare. He just showed, for future references, remember this, he just showed that a president can damn near single-handedly force Medicare for all on society. Do you know that, right? He utilized his authority in this particular situation in the best possible way you could. He said, I have authoritative powers, executive powers in situations like this. So what I'm going to do is literally give $100 billion to this cause and allocate at least some of that money specifically to making healthcare free at the point of access. And he did it with the stroke of a pen. Think about it. It just makes me wonder what would have happened if the Democratic Party would have actually allowed a progressive to take over and allowed them to have a chance to win. Because clearly this was a selection process from the beginning. Nobody's naive to that. Well, Democratic establishment and liberals, quote unquote, neoliberals may be naive to this, but the rest of us are not. They would have allowed a progressive to win. This world will look completely different. Probably wouldn't be quite as profitable for those in power. It's so frustrating when you have Donald Trump moving to the left of Democrats. Listen, so Trump might have his issues, which there are a lot, but that's what makes it so much worse, is that when Trump has a lot of issues, I can actually point, like, so if it was Trump versus Kamala, for every issue that you have with Trump, I could say the same thing with Kamala and attach 5 more things to her. With Biden, I can do the same thing, but even more so. So that's what makes it so bad when I never hear Trump. Trump has not pushed for Medicare for all, but he's not against it. He didn't say he would veto it either. He's actually used it as a threat against the Republicans if they didn't get some health care through the pipeline soon. But he's never said it was impossible. He never said we couldn't afford Medicare for all. He's never said single payer was a horrible idea. He's never used the Center for American Progress talking points that are oftentimes used by both Republicans and Democrats. Hell, he never even attacked Bernie on Medicare for all like Kamala has and Joe Biden has. He never called it pie in the sky. He's never called it that. I know it's crazy when you think about it, but I challenge you, go look it up. And at a time where everyone else, even the legislature was playing like they wanted, oh, we want free testing. We want free treatment. We want free testing. You were saying it, but that bill, we're still waiting for the pressure legislatively come through the pipeline. And here we are, 100 billion. All of a sudden, no excuses. All of a sudden, it's affordable. All of a sudden, you do some little tapping. All of a sudden, we got it now. We got Medicare for all for the coronavirus treatment. And there's no question whether or not people will be using it, right? Because at least with Medicare for all, I might go there once every 6 months for preventative maintenance. I might go to the hospital in the middle of an emergency. But like, for the most part, people my age, younger, I'm not going to be using it like that. But now, you know for a fact, if you even think you got coronavirus, you're going. And the majority of the Americans are going to go once they figure out that you can get free treatment. They're going to go get tested. They're going to go get treated. And it's actually going to create a spike in the system. And if the system can afford it, and if, like at this juncture, if the system can afford it, if the system can handle it, then that shows that there should have never been a system that was absent of single-payer health care to begin with. And if we have to find out this reality through goddamn Donald Trump, I never in my goddamn life want to hear how much better Joe Biden is than Donald Trump. Well, you're going to vote for Donald Trump over Joe Biden? I'm not. I'm actually, shit, I don't know who I'm voting for at this point. I hope that Dario Hunter is the Green Party candidate, because if he's not, then I'm probably not going to vote. But, or the Green Party nominee, excuse me, because I don't like how y'all can vote. But, at least I'm not going to vote for the presidential election. I'm going to vote for the other stuff. But the moral of the story is, y'all are just, there's some people who are, they're so appalled with this idea that anyone could think that Trump is actually marginally better than Biden, actually. They can't believe it. But Trump is a racist. Motherfucker, so was Biden. Biden's a literal segregationist. A literal segregationist. He worked on policy to maintain segregation and then use the excuse, well, black people just like being with other black people, man. You know, we might be infringing on their individualism. They like being, they don't like being other white. That was his excuse. Well, he's a sexual assault. Oh, well, what about Joe Biden? Because right now they're both in the same camp of being accused. And we'll probably never know the truth about both of them. But we know that Joe Biden's accusers came out well and way before he ran for office. Okay? And on top of that, Trump's looks a little bit more sketchy because it was the accusations were brought together by a firm which is ran by Lisa Bloom, who was Harvey Weinstein's advisor, who made excuses for Harvey Weinstein. And then you find out Lisa Bloom is, of course, a Democratic strategist, a fundraiser, consultant, et cetera, et cetera. And her mother is, oh man, who's her mother? Gloria Allred, another Democratic advisor. So like, they're both accused. And then even then, the situation against Biden is more organic and seems more legitimate than a Democratic strategist bringing together a bunch of women right around the time that elections are about to happen. And then once you couldn't use it against Trump anymore, we don't hear anything about it. So what's next? I can make an argument that both of them are shit on foreign policy, but I can almost make an argument that Biden would be worse on foreign policy. Biden would be, you know, so like right now under Trump, we're inching closer and closer to a new Cold War, if we're not already in one, to be honest with you. With Biden, you can skip the Cold War because we might be in a full-scale hot war by the end of this. Like, when I saw the clip of the New Yorker, the old ass, brash, crass New Yorker, advocating for a goddamn single payer system to help fight coronavirus. I never in 27 years, see what I did right there? I never in 27 years thought it would have been Trump and not Bernie saying it. Not that Bernie hasn't been advocating for Medicare for all, but I'm just saying. I never. If I would have looked up, if I didn't look at the clip first and I looked, I'm like, what the fuck, is that Bernie talking? I mean, yeah, it's just common sense stuff. And if Bernie was saying, do you understand? Like, realistically speaking, think about this. If Bernie was saying, like, maybe he was in the midst of passing Medicare for all, but like it was kind of getting shut down in Congress, but he ended up getting this through, and he was giving a speech on what this was supposed to do, and he said basically everything I just showed you in that clip. Oh my God, we would be cheering from the rooftop. There would be confetti thrown everywhere. There would be a party. Bernie wouldn't even have to serve the rest of the 3 years. They would be so in love with everything he's, oh, see, this is why I love Bernie. But now because of Trump saying it, all of a sudden, we're trying to poke holes, which you can do, by the way. I can do that with everything. We want to poke holes before we even acknowledge the reality, which is this is still a step forward. And it's a very positive step forward. It is. It's okay to say that. I don't want our presidents to be failures. I live in this goddamn country. I don't know if y'all know that. Y'all, some of y'all, I know we got a lot of out-of-towners who come in. But I don't give a damn if it's Trump, Bernie, Biden. I don't want any president to be a failure. Period. I remember Garland Nixon was talking about this on his show Fault Lines with him and Lee Stranahan. He's like, bro. He didn't say bro, but he was like, I'm hoping and praying he gets this right. And every time he does do something well, I'm absolutely going to commend him on it without fear, because this is a time that we should be forgetting about partisan politics. And unfortunately, the reality of the situation is Democrats have been weaponizing this. They've been weaponizing this. It's Trump isn't doing enough. Trump isn't doing. And then Hillary Clinton opening up her damn mouth. Bitch, nobody cares what the fuck you got to say. You wouldn't do shit differently. In fact, we damn sure wouldn't have free testing, and we damn sure wouldn't have free treatment for the coronavirus paid for through Medicare under a Hillary Clinton administration. That's for goddamn sure, remember? That's pie in the sky. That's pie in the sky for Hillary Clinton. And this bitch got the nerve to get on Twitter talking about what Trump should be doing. How about you do some more? Oh, that's right. You can't do shit because you got your ass handed to you. Don't pretend like you're so obsessed with your job now. You just, she's just a worker bee. She's just so obsessed with her work. She wants to pretend like that's what she's obsessed with now. You weren't so obsessed with your work that you thought it was important enough to campaign in key swing states, did you? I don't give a shit about your opinion. Your opinion wasn't worth enough to go tell it in front of those people that you should have been campaigning for or campaigning with. But instead, you want to go to Twitter and shit. You're probably not even sending out the tweets. I'll tell you this. I may not like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, but I like Trump better than I like Hillary. I tell you that shit. At least he's funny and campaigns. Trump campaigns. He campaigned in New Hampshire. Listen, he campaigned in New Hampshire for no other reason than to give his fan base a victory lap. Man, that's dope. You ain't gonna like the guy, but that's dope. Like, hey man, we just gonna have a rally, have some fun, talk shit about Joe Biden, brag on the Democrats. Bro, it was a hug fest. It was actually next door to the Tulsi rally in New Hampshire. That's how I know. They come out. A lot of them came over to the Tulsi rally next. They were out there giving hugs to people. We had some good laughs on the way to the car. They were like, yeah, man, he was fucking roasting them, bro. We love Tulsi, though. And a lot of them even liked Bernie. And they were like, but man, fuck the Democratic Party and fuck everything they stand for. People were telling me they used to be Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. But, once again, same story. I don't even like everything Trump does. I don't like a lot of what he does. But fuck the Democrats. That's how people feel. And he just has rallies to do victory laps in states he knows he's going to win. Why? because I know I'm going to win. And he likes ingratiating himself with his fan base. Makes him feel good. But shit. That's what you like. People like being part of a winning team. That's one of the reasons that Bernie supporters can be so sycophantic at times. One of the reasons why even Trump supporters can obviously be arrogant and sycophantic at times. That's why people are so quick to jump on Joe Biden's winning. They just want to switch to the winning team. Thank you, Natalie, for the super chat. And this is why I like Tulsi going on Fox News. She's influenced him because of it. 100%, Natalie. 100%. 100% agree. And by the way, I'm thinking about writing in Tulsi too. I'll probably select but it depends if Dario Hunter wins for the Green nomination. But if Dario does not win, I'll probably vote. Well, actually, I'll definitely do everything case by case. I have to do my research on all the candidates that are there and all that good stuff, and then I base it literally on a case by case basis, as all of you should be doing. Nobody, I don't give a damn what your party affiliation is. You should not be voting down ticket for everybody, like every Democrat, every Republican, every. No, you should not be fucking doing that. That's lazy, tribal, and wrong-minded. It is party politics. It's partisan politics. You do your research on each candidate, and then you make decisions based on a case-by-case basis. Castro said, "Go Trump, we in the swing state." Now, yeah, if you're in the swing state and you really hate Biden, I'm not gonna blink twice if you vote for Trump. I ain't gonna think shit. I'm like, you do you, bro. I'm not even mad at you, dog. I'm not even mad at you. I am really not. Because I think that Joe Biden is infinitely more dangerous than Trump. And you can kiss my ass 3 ways to Sunday if you think otherwise. Please come on my show to debate me. I would hate to be the Trump guy to debate that he is not as dangerous as Joe Biden will be, but I will be that shit. And as a person that's not even voting for him, I will be that. I will still tell people why Joe Biden is infinitely more dangerous than Donald Trump. Infinitely. So, I want to move on to our next topic. So, be looking out for that, by the way, the Medicare for All thing, or the CARES Act. Be looking out for that. I want to see how it turns out, but any good liberal presidential candidates? Yeah, Dario Hunter. All right, Dario Hunter. Thanks for the super chat, Manny. Check him out. I did an interview with him. It's up here. We good? So for this next segment, speaking of pushing for Trump over Biden, Joe Rogan got a lot of heat because recent interview with Eric Weinstein, he said that I like Trump more than Biden. I will vote for him over Biden, and goes on to give his explanation. Pretty damn good explanation, to be completely honest with you, but we're going to talk about it. Take a look.
This is the real issue with the Democratic Party. They've essentially made us all morons.
Yeah.
With this Joe Biden thing. They really have. They
you
made us all
imagine?
morons.
Who do we need? I mean,
I can't vote for that guy.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for Trump.
I'd rather vote for Trump than him. I don't think he could handle anything. I mean, you're relying entirely on his cabinet. Like, if you want to talk about an individual leader that can communicate, he can't do that. And we don't even know what the he's going to be like after a year in office. The pressure of being the president of the United States is something that no one has ever prepared for.
Right.
The only one who seems to be fine with it is Trump, oddly enough. I mean, he doesn't seem to be aging at all or in any sort of decline. You know, Obama, like, almost immediately started looking older.
Well, Joe Rogan got a lot of heat for that. And to be honest with you, I'm sure he expected it. I mean, the man got heat. It was weird, right? He got heat and attacked for endorsing Bernie. And then they were like, shh. Then he gets attacked for saying, I don't like Biden. But You notice how in all of the responses to him, all the rebuttals, Media San being one of them, they don't actually say what Joe Rogan was wrong about referencing Biden. Like, what was he wrong about? He said the Democratic Party has made us all stupid by pushing Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I don't know how he'll do a year in office. It'll basically be ran by his staff, by his administration, by his advisors, which we know who they'll be. And that's not good. If it's anything like Obama's advisors, Citigroup basically chose out all of them, and Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Leadership Council, et cetera, et cetera. So he was right about that. Talks about his mental decline. Where were they wrong? He's saying he didn't say that was his first choice. Because here's what's funny about this whole situation. You know why they really don't like Joe Biden, or excuse me, Joe Rogan, the neoliberals. You know, and some neo-progressives too. But specifically Democrat, hardcore D, big D, neoliberals. They don't like Joe Rogan because you know what Joe Rogan said when he was talking to Jimmy Dore? Joe Rogan said, I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal. He was like, get the fuck out of here. Jimmy's like, what? No, you're not. He's like, bro, I voted Democrat my entire life, except for Gary Johnson because of the two choices. And Gary Johnson likes to smoke weed. And then, you know, whoever he votes for this election, he was hoping it would be Tulsi or Bernie. Obviously, that's not the case. So he's voting for Trump. If those are the two options. Well, I don't know who he's going to vote for, to be honest with you. But not that it matters, because he's in California, so it's not going to matter. But I'm sure he knows that. But what it highlights is that Joe is literally the average Joe, right? I think that that's a pretty safe assessment. Joe Rogan is about the most average Joe. Like, the man is the most successful podcaster in history. He still does shows in a dad cap, in a t-shirt, like a casual t-shirt, like just the most casual guy you could ever meet. And he is a Democrat, and he was a lifelong Democrat and a lifelong liberal through the ups and the downs, through, you know, some of his more controversial takes that were comedy based, but controversial nonetheless. And even his more progressive ones that he's recently embarked on. Either way, he's been a blue guy. And so the average Joe is saying, as a person with this massive platform, who has been a liberal my entire life, who's voted liberal or Democrat for every election up to Gary Johnson, which was 2016. Me, the average Joe, is telling you, I'm done with y'all bullshit. And guess what? The average Joe, Democrat, which there are a lot of Joe Rogans out there, except for the money part. There are a lot of Joes out there, average Joes. They all feel, or a lot of them feel, the exact same way. The people who turn Wisconsin red for the first time in decades. The people who turn Pennsylvania red. Turn Michigan red. Turn North Carolina completely red when it was a purple state prior. The people who turned these states red had to be average Joe blue liberals who got tired of getting. These are the union states. Think about that. The states in the Rust Belt that Trump dominated in were union states. Union states generally tend to be blue-leaning, blue-collar workers. But why would you do that when your union is no longer protected in democratic states under a democratic president anymore? So for what? We've seen, like, what do you think that the unions got the shaft with these trade deals too? because you were basically you're almost bypassing a lot of the protections that are like built in, like the point of you having a union, certain pay in certain fields, guarantee of work, guarantee of certain, you know what I'm saying? Like guaranteed a job, guaranteed if you go from this city or this state to doing the same job in another state, you might still be able to be under the same, like all that type of stuff was guaranteed. And then the NAFTA came through. So these are blue, and these are average Joes working since they were in high school, went straight to work. This is all I know, and I've voted Democrat my whole life, but I'm tired of y'all bullshit. That is what Joe Rogan represents, and that is why they hate him so much. And they hate when he talks. Joe Rogan is not the smartest guy, especially when it comes to politics. He's a listener. He listens and internalizes, listens and internalizes, listens and even for him, who I would say he has above average knowledge when it comes to politics, but not like, he's not like up there. And for him to come up with such a salient analysis on why Joe Biden is just such a horrible pick, and how many other average Joes listen to him, how many other quote unquote average Joe podcasters are out there saying the same thing. Joe Rogan is just like, he's emblematic of the changing of the tide that we are seeing. And Democrats despise him for it. Because everything he said about Joe, instead of calling Joe Rogan, instead of once again addressing the points that Joe Rogan made, what do you see the responses? He's a sexist, he's a racist, he's an enabler of white supremacy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What the fuck is Joe Rogan then? Anita Hill? Segregation? Like, or excuse me, not Joe Rogan, Joe Biden. What is Joe Biden at that point? Every ad hominem attack you can use disingenuously against Joe Rogan, I could definitely use against Biden. So you might as well address the substance. Oh, you don't want to address the substance because you're worried that Joe Rogan is correct. And you're worried that he is more representative of the popular opinion than you want to give him credit for, and that you want him to be accredited with. And you know that if you don't try and stomp this out now, there will be way too many people who begin to echo those sentiments and believe it. So what you do is you try and crush him, you belittle him, you denigrate him, you attack his character, you send out the signal, what I call the bat signal, political bat signal. Hey, if you do this, if you say this, we will crush you. Right? That's what they're doing. We're not going to waste time addressing your policies. We're not going to waste time addressing the issues that you raise. We're just going to crush your character. That is the bat signal they're trying to send out. Because they don't want average Joes talking like average Joe Rogan. And they damn sure don't want them voting like him. God forbid people use their brains and vote based off of who they feel best represents them. God forbid that. We want to move on to the next topic, which is a hilarious one. It's going to be quick, but Whoopi Goldberg, y'all. Whoopi Goldberg. Did y'all hear about it? Did y'all hear about what happened with Whoopi? All right, we're going to play the clip. Go ahead, play it.
Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General, his wife.
Yeah,
Joe Biden's wife, because he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
I thought she was a doctor and
PhD.
Yeah, I
could be wrong.
Maybe
I thought she was.
I think she's a teacher, but my.
Bruh. First of all, the audience think they just gonna slide. The audience thinks they just gonna, y'all gonna come get this roast too. Whoopi Goldberg says, Dr. Jill Biden should be Surgeon General. She's an amazing doctor. The audience, oh my God, Whoopi. Oh my God, you're so right. If you've ever needed a perfect representation of how Americans have just become sheep. That was it. Oh my God. Oh my God. She's so right. She just would be an amazing Surgeon General. I didn't even, like, at first when I heard, I was like, huh? Nobody talked about Biden's wife. I didn't even know. And I was thinking to myself, nobody's ever talked about Biden's wife being a doctor. Like, I've heard her be referred to as a PhD before. Never heard of her being an actual MD. And of course, I was right. But this is why you shouldn't just be clapping because you heard random person's name with a D beside it said by famous person. So we should all clap along. That's why you shouldn't just be clapping for any fucking thing you hear on TV because, as we just exposed, most of the fucking time they're wrong. Most of the time they're wrong. That was egregious. Because you, not only do you say she should be Surgeon General, but you qualify what she has been an amazing doctor. Well, I'm pretty sure that she was a good teacher and educator, I guess. What the fuck? What does that have to do with being a Surgeon General? What does that have to do with being a Surgeon General? Nothing. Literally nothing. But not only was she, once again, not only is she a good PhD, but she's an amazing MD who's never done the job before. Never went to school for it. If you're ever wondering if your talent agency, your Democrat, your political party affiliation, you know, who's paying your bills, if you ever wonder whether or not it will influence your rhetoric when you get in front of a massive audience that is highly susceptible to influence, you don't have to wonder because Whoopi Goldberg, just like Joe Biden, is on CAA. That's why she protects him so hard. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Yeah, Robbie Yeager covered that. Whoopi Goldberg is on CAA, the talent agency that has been accused of pimping women on the agency on behalf of Harvey Weinstein. They're all in that same talent agency. Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Biden, Alyssa Milano, who we'll talk about in a second. Why do you think that Whoopi Goldberg goes out of her way to protect Biden? Because she is ordered to protect Biden at all costs. And apparently, she's also ordered to make a whole goddamn fool out of herself. Clearly. I get it. You got researchers, you got people who draw up talking points for you. But you should at least verify the most basic of facts. This is how you know their researchers don't even do their damn job. We've talked about this on the show before. You can clearly see when they're like trying to attack Tulsi, right? For example, or trying to attack Bernie when we see, they read off of a card, bullet point by bullet point, just go to, you said this and that and but yeah, and they like mix up the name, don't even know what the fucking issue is. That is what their researchers do. So the researchers aren't even damn good at the research job to begin with. And they always are kind of setting up them, they're always setting the view people up for failure, the women on. Because then you get somebody like Tulsi who knows her stuff. They get on there and they handle their business. And you have no rebuttal. You have no rebuttal other than to overreact and get all emotional because your talking point. Can you believe somebody probably gets paid like $50,000, $60,000 a year to write talking points for The View? Can you believe that? That's got to be the easiest job in the history of jobs. All you have to do is go to CNN, like Anderson Cooper or MSNBC, and just write down every negative thing about the anti-establishment candidate, write down every negative thing about Donald Trump for that morning, and then write down every positive thing, even if you have to make some stuff up about the Democrat. Then you hand it to Whoopi to make a fool of herself. You go to sleep, wake up the next day and do the same thing. The easiest job ever. Seriously. You don't even got to be good at it. Clearly, that's where we're at. But I just felt like that clip was hilarious. And it just once again showed how far these agency cooperatives, you know, these co-talents in the CAA talent agency, this is how far they will go to protect each other. You have Whoopi Goldberg lying about Joe Biden's wife being a medical doctor on national television, and Alyssa Milano protecting Joe Biden at all costs. And that brings me to my next clip. This one's a little bit longer, but this you gotta listen to. Did y'all know today Alyssa Milano went onto a radio show to explain her silence on Joe Biden? Her explanation literally made everything worse. Let me see if I can find I'm gonna see if I can find the ratio before we even show you the clip, because you're gonna really want to watch this clip. The last time I checked that ratio, the video, because it had only been posted a couple hours, the video got like, shit, that 12,000 views now? That 12,000 views. You want to know what the like to dislike ratio is? The like ratio is 84 likes. The dislike ratio is 1.7K. So you gonna want to hear this shit, because it deserves it. Shit, the 84 likes, it's being too nice, being too generous. It's probably every member of that staff for that radio show. Is it Radio Andy? Probably every member of that staff like that video. Let's check it out.
Alyssa, the other night, I logged on to Twitter, and typically my Twitter experience these days is I go on and I look at what's trending just to see, okay, it's basically a way of telling me what people are talking about. And you were trending.
Right. That's how I do it too.
Yeah. What did you do that you were trending?
So it's actually quite a serious reason, I think. So I endorsed Joe Biden.
Okay, good.
And there have been accusations against Joe about a sexual assault.
Right, and people were saying, "How can you do that?" Because you're.
I have not publicly said anything about this. If you remember, it kind of took me a long time to publicly say anything about Harvey as well, because I believe that even though we should believe women, and that is an important thing, and what that statement really means is, like, you know, for so long the go-to has been not to believe them. So really we have to sort of societally change that mindset to believing women, but that does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process and investigating situations.
I like that.
And giving, it's got to be fair in both directions.
Okay.
So, I've been very vocal about Biden and my support for him. I've known him for a long time, and I did do my due diligence because part of it was that, and the article that sort of stood out to me was that Time's Up decided not to take the case. And so,
that was important to you. That meant, well, maybe there's more to this story here.
Right. I did my work, and I spoke to Time's Up, and I just don't feel comfortable throwing away a decent man that I've known for 15 years.
Yep.
In this time of complete chaos without there being a thorough investigation.
Yep.
I'm sure that mainstream media would be jumping all over this as well if
we weren't in a pandemic. If there was more credible, if there was evidence that was
if they found more evidence or through their investigate. So I'm just kind of staying quiet about it. And because I'm staying quiet about it,
you were getting dragged on Twitter by Bernie bros.
Right. They're calling me hypocritical for and saying that I'm a fake feminist and all of this stuff. And I'm still trying desperately to stand back and be sort of objective about this, because I don't want this to, I sent the Me Too tweet over 2 years ago. I never thought that it would be something that was going to destroy innocent men, right? Like, we don't want that to happen either. So we have to find this balance in the Believe Women movement, and also giving men their due process, and realizing that we're destroying lives if we publicly don't go through the right steps in order to find out if an accusation is credible or not.
Wow. Whole lot of lies there. Whole lot of problematic takes. Whole lot of problems. I don't even know. First of all, let's talk about the fact that why the hell she sounds so stupid? Why do you sound like you don't know what the hell you're talking about? You sound like you're guilty of lying, and you know you're lying. You ever like get caught by your parents lying, and you got a lying voice, but you don't really, you got a lying voice, but you in the moment you're like, man, I'm selling the shit out of this lie. My mom believes everything I'm saying, but then you realize after, damn, I did sound a little bit nervous. Like you trying to figure out, like, damn, how did my mom know I was lying? Because you sounded like Alyssa Milano when she was making up excuses for why she's been silent on this Joe Biden. That's why you said that to yourself when you was a kid. Everybody has sounded like Alyssa Milano. The difference is we weren't lying about the nature of an accusation of sexual assault about a presidential candidate. So the gravity of the situation is a little bit different. But let's talk about some of the lies. In that clip, you know what she said? She said, if you remember, I didn't come out initially about Harvey Weinstein either. Okay. And it was for the same reason. Oh, it was about the due process, right? Yeah. See, that's not what you said last time. What you said was, even with these strong feelings, not just about Weinstein, but about workplace sexism in general, this statement is complicated for me for personal reasons. Harvey has a wife who I have had the privilege of working with for the last 5 years on Project Runway All-Stars, wrote Milano. Georgina Chapman is my friend. She is one of the most special humans I have ever met. Harvey and Georgina also have 2 very young children who my children have known their entire lives. It is because of my love for Georgina, India, and Dashiell that I haven't publicly commented on this until now. Please don't confuse my silence with anything other than a respect for my dear friend and her beautiful children. You know what we call that, ladies and gentlemen? A cop-out. And it's a lie. So, I mean, it's not a lie. That part, I believe, is true. But I also believe that because of Weinstein's association with CAA, she knew what time it was. In that Me Too situation, remember, happened almost around the same time. And this was Alyssa Milano trying to revitalize her image as well from being a former Bernie supporter. She said in that radio clip that I just aired for you all that she didn't speak on Harvey Weinstein because she wanted, we want to believe women, quote unquote. She wanted to make sure men had due process. So we don't put innocent men behind bars and in their careers. And that would be a noble argument to have been made. Except for, then you fast forward. Alyssa Milano cared so much about the Kavanaugh accusations, which I could only think that she gave more credit to, given that in this situation, she pretended basically like she didn't even know that the accusations against Joe Biden existed in this situation with Tara Reade. But with Kavanaugh, She went to the hearing. Nobody had even been found guilty yet. You know what she said? I wasn't there with any political agenda. I was there to support a survivor of sexual assault, Milano tells the Hollywood Reporter on Friday morning. As a survivor, it literally is all of our worst nightmares come true. This is exactly the reason why we don't come forward or we don't report. Because of the scrutiny. Because a man's word will always mean more than our word. And it's disgusting. Does anybody want to point out the irony in that statement? Does anybody want to point out the whole ass irony in that statement? Sweet baby Jesus, Buddha, and Allah. I'm not here for any political agenda, except for you're absolutely there for 100% because of the political agenda. This is what we have to deal with as women. We are not believed. We're hyper scrutinized, and the men's word matters more than ours. Tara Reid, erased by the mainstream media. Because of what? To protect the white man that plays for the same team. All of a sudden, it was, I was there to support a survivor. Like, Alyssa, what the fuck? Bro, your political clout is zero. You have zero influence on the outcome of any of these things. You jump-starting Me Too, like, you are almost least, you like, nobody cared that you were involved. You co-opted somebody else's movement. But like, you're a liar. Oh, I'm here to support survivors. Okay. So why not support Tara Reid? Oh, I just feel like there should be an investigation. I just feel like there should be due process. Oh, now you care about due process. That's so crazy how that works. So when it's a Democrat, you care about who's being accused. You care about due process. But when it's a Republican accused, now it's believe women. Now it's damn the due. Now it's I'm just here to stand with the survivors of a sexual assault. I'm at a damn Supreme Court hearing for the Supreme Court justice because my opinion is so influential. I'm just waiting to be moved by Miss Ford in one way or the other. Now I care about standing with victims and not about hearing the due process. You're a fucking hypocrite. You know what makes it worse? You know what she also said in that interview? Time's Up didn't take the case, and that was important to her. You see how that is sickening. That is sickening. So Me Too was an heir apparent, Time's Up was an heir apparent to Me Too, but they have a legal mechanism that can then pursue these cases. Time's Up did not pursue this case. Time's Up did not pursue this case because their primary financier is a fucking senior advisor for Joe Biden. And she knows this. Alyssa Milano knows this. But she just tried, I gotta stand with survivors. She just tried to delegitimize Tara Reid's claims by saying, well, Time's Up. They didn't cover it. So, that was kind of that was a deciding factor for me. Oh, you mean the organization that is literally financed by one of Biden's chief advisors didn't support any or wouldn't pursue a case against Joe Biden? They wouldn't fuck up their money train? Can you believe that? I, for one, am shocked and appalled. I'm flabbergasted. I'm so befuddled. I don't understand how we could have ever expected that. Like, what? Come on. But you say this on national radio, pretending like that you weren't being obtuse, that you weren't being purposely misleading. You're a fucking liar. That's what you are. Now, Crystal Ball has something to say about this. She felt some type of way, I could tell. And so we're going to bring up that tweet real quick. She says incredible. Alyssa Milano says she assumes that the mainstream media would cover Tara Reade if her claims were credible, and that we have to find balance in Me Too and believe women. Don't remember those caveats before. 100% correct. And Alyssa Milano's claim, she said, if this was such a, if this was credible, then I thought the mainstream would have investigated more. They always, because the mainstream in 2020 has become known for its stellar investigative journalism, exposing the secret corruption of establishment candidates. If they have not been known for anything else, that is definitely what they've come to be known for in 2020. That is totally why their fucking ratings have dropped across the board and people come to independent media like this fucking show to get the truth. Because that's what the mainstream media has been known for, right? Telling the let alone doing some fucking research for once, but then using that research to tell the truth, we know for a fact. They've always been known for exposing people like Joe Biden. They have not propped up Joe Biden at all. They've held him to account. And that's why, if the mainstream media isn't worrying about it, meh. Really? Come on, bro. Come on. So, Alyssa Milano's response was meh as well. As usual, right? She keeps giving a bunch of mad responses. She said, Bernie supporter, right? Ladies and gentlemen, does that address what Crystal Ball said about the mainstream media? Which is true? Does that address what she said about Milano when it comes to, quote unquote, finding balance between Me Too and I Believe Women? And her not having any caveats like, oh, well, we should make sure the man is innocent or guilty, due process. She didn't have any of those caveats before. That's true. I just read you two very clear examples of that. And Alyssa Milano, oh, Bernie supporter, right? What the fuck does being a Bernie supporter mean when it comes to you being a complete and total hypocrite and other people calling you out? You know what the only thing I've seen being a Bernie supporter means? It means that you at least, at the bare minimum, have the clarity of thought to see bullshit when it arises, like in this particular situation, when it comes to the establishment lying and protecting and coddling. So maybe in this situation, that's what you mean. Oh, you're a Bernie supporter, right? As in you could see I'm bullshitting. That's the only thing I can think of. But other than that, Alyssa Milano has no reason to bring up being a Bernie supporter. You think that you can discredit anything that's said about you just by calling somebody a Bernie supporter? It doesn't work, bro. You're full of shit. Michael Goddard, thank you very much for the super chat. Gonna have steak and eggs on GE tonight. Watch MSM lose it. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for the super chat. So now, Bree Joy Gray jumps into the mix. Y'all know I love Bree. Shout out to Bree. Got a lot of love for her. Everything she's done for Bernie's campaign, and she's been pretty vocal about this. She said, bold of you to admit that you only care about sexual assault allegations about people you disagree with politically. Then she says, this is truly some of the ugliest and most demoralizing, sexist, hypocritical BS I've ever witnessed in my life. As a woman, I'm enraged. As an ethical human being, I'm enraged. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Brie. 100% agree. What's what it ultimately boils down to, and I must say, I know other members of the campaign have been a little bit tepid, to say the least, when it comes to addressing this Joe Biden situation. But what Bree has done here, I do not think should be taken for granted. The campaign is still ongoing. She is still a member of Bernie Sanders' campaign and still the national press secretary. And as a woman, as a person who believes in holding people accountable, addressing survivors and giving them adequate support, et cetera, she could have been silent because Bernie has not talked about this. David Sorta has not talked about this. Rokana has not talked about this. She knows that if Bernie endorses Biden, unfortunately, when Bernie endorses Biden, when Biden campaigns, or Bernie campaigns for Biden, these allegations could hurt Bernie as a brand in the future. And her being connected to Bernie as a brand in the future, it could hurt her. She does not care. That is an activist first. That is an advocate. That is a leftist. That is a progressive. That is a person who stands on her principles before standing with the campaign. When it comes to some issues, you cannot bend. You cannot waver, especially if you're a woman. Because she knows as a black woman, if she, God forbid, Bree ever went through something like that, or any of her friends who may be minorities, you think that Tara Reid is having a lot of trouble getting her story heard. Imagine being a black woman. Imagine being Anita Hill, having the entire U.S. government, led by Joe Biden, trying to crush you to protect the Supreme Court justice. She knows how that game is played, and it doesn't get better if you're a black woman or a minority woman. It gets worse, and that is like a line that she drew, regardless of whose campaign she works for, and that is all the respect in the world for you, for that. So Crystal has a response to Alyssa Milano's tweet, saying it shouldn't matter what candidate you support. That's literally exactly the problem. Your obvious hypocrisy is destroying the movement you claim to care about. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Couldn't have said it any better myself. I appreciate you calling that out, Crystal. I appreciate you calling that out, Bree. And I appreciate Alyssa Milano being so candid in her bullshit, making it so easy to expose you. You tell on yourself. Like, we didn't even have to do work. You just had a whole radio clip. Hey, can I just go ahead and list off the different ways I'm a hypocrite? Is that cool? That's literally what she did. If you want to do that, you can do it on Twitter. Crystal Ball got under her skin, though. She's been going back and forth with Crystal ever since. I probably done missed some stuff. But, nonetheless, I appreciate Bree calling her out. I appreciate Crystal calling Alyssa Milano out. I appreciate all the women and men who have been just as pursuant of supporting women who have been victims of sexual assault, who have been consistent across the board. Let's keep it up. Okay? Because once again, be clear, Joe Biden ain't the first nor the last Democrat who should be investigated for some predatory behavior and should be held accountable for predatory behavior and protecting predatory behavior. Once again, CAA, talent agency, strikes again. Y'all gonna start seeing these connections more and more. CAA is everywhere. The same talent agency that said they were going to crush Tulsi in 2016, as revealed by WikiLeaks. The same talent agency that has Anna Kasparian and Jank under it, Whoopi Goldberg, people who, either shielded for Warren, hated on Tulsi, or both. Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Biden, Alyssa Milano. Warren was affiliated with them. I don't know if she actually ended up signing officially, but she's friends with the owner. Booker, Kamala Harris, now Andrew Yang, Anderson Cooper. Do I need to keep going? Every corrupt figure you can think of in politics that leaves pop culture and tries to delve into the realm of political commentary, seemingly out of nowhere. They're just randomly brought on like their opinion's actually important. You can almost guarantee they're part of CAA or UTA, and UTA is a spinoff of CAA. This is the facts. So CAA strikes again. Alyssa Milano is protecting her career. Never been about victims. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream segment of Mika Says Su Casa. And always remember, more than anything, find your balance. Peace.